On behalf of the Professional Baseball Strength and Conditioning Coaches Society, I'd like to welcome you to the PBSCCS podcast. I'm your host, Chris Messina. All right, everybody, today's episode is going to be a special episode. It's going to be a celebration of the 8-year anniversary of the PBSCCS podcast. It feels like a really, really long time ago that this started, and going back through some of my old notes and the old videos and the recordings, a lot has changed over 8 years, and I'm still just as thankful now as I was then when I started to be able to do these interviews and to talk to some great people and to some great coaches. And we've started to expand also to some sponsors and dietitians and other people within the profession as well. So we've done a lot of growing over the 8 years. I'm really happy about everything and the way that things are going. And so I want to go over the year in review here for this episode. We started off this year with Max Miller of the Seattle Mariners organization. And Max and I spoke about working in the Arizona Complex League and how to really maximize relationships both at the ballpark, at the facility, but also at home as well. Then we went to Adam Decker next of the Houston Astros organization. That was a really good talk about how he was working outside of baseball, and he brought some ideas into baseball and what he believes in, what he calls physical literacy for his athletes. After Adam, I had an interview with Joe Leo of the Arizona Diamondbacks organization. Joe and I spoke of the value of having a really good internship, and then we talked about programming and working with athletes who are in season. After Joe, I was with Ryan Harrell, who we talked about microdosing for daily training programs for your athletes, and then his family ties in professional baseball. After Ryan, I spoke with Phil Wilson of Relax Saunas. That interview was really cool. I learned a lot about saunas and specifically far infrared saunas. And Phil actually shared some protocols as well that he believes athletes can use to find a lot of benefit and use the saunas. After Phil, I spoke with Chris Frosch. Chris and I spoke of strength and skill development for athletes and working in the Arizona Fall League. After Chris, I spoke with Joe Scieri of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Joe is actually an RD with Arizona, so that was cool. We were able to talk about helping elite athletes connect the dots with nutrition and then also the role of the dietitian in professional baseball. He also shared how to make a really good smoothie, a really elite smoothie, so probably something worth checking out for everyone as well. After Joe, I talked with Kirby Retzer, an old friend of mine from the Boston Red Sox organization. He's currently at Symmetry Exercise Clinic. We talked about him working with a Cy Young winner. We talked about the value of training with machines. And then we talked about life during and after professional baseball for him. After Kirby, we did a roundtable discussion. I had on Joe Leo and Logan Jones, and we talked all things spring training. It was really cool to pull back the curtain with them and talk about training with athletes, talk about the schedule, talk about collaborating. And if you have never worked in professional baseball and you're curious what spring training is really like for the staff, that's a really good one to check out as well. After that one, I spoke with Ben Loftus of Resolute Performance. Ben used to be in professional baseball for a while, decided to start his own company, and we talked about, owning and operating a training business, training youth athletes, how his faith helped him throughout the process, the good, the bad, the ugly. And I know that's a discussion that a lot of strength and conditioning coaches talk about, right? They say they want to have their own business, and that's a really good one to go to for some information on that. After Ben, I spoke with Nate Kolb of the Seattle Mariners organization. We talked about being a coordinator and what that entails versus being at an affiliate. And we also took a really deep dive into force plates. We talked data, we talked metrics, we talked application, we talked rehab. So if you're interested in learning more about force plates, I know it's becoming a big thing in the field and specifically in professional baseball. that would be a really good episode to check out. And then finally, we ended the year with Goldie Simmons, a strength and conditioning coach in the NBA. And we talked life in the NBA versus life in MLB. We talked about training basketball players versus training baseball players, how being in baseball has really helped him in basketball. And so it was cool to just get a perspective of a different sport on as well. So as you can see, we had a ton of really good interviews this year. There was a lot of really good information and content. And like I said earlier, I'm really proud that we're starting to expand a little bit. We're getting some people that have moved out of professional baseball but are still relevant in the field and doing really good things. We had a conversation with a sponsor this year, specifically, like I said, with Phil from Relax Saunas. And then we've had a dietitian on, and we're hoping to kind of have some other people as well in the near future here. So keep an eye out for all of that in the next year. And then, as always, I'm very thankful of all the support from the listeners. I'm very thankful to all the guests for giving me their time. It's not always easy to find time for people to, do these interviews with me. And it's a big ask of people, especially being in season for some of these coaches. They have very limited free time, and to be able to give me an hour or 2 hours of their time just to talk shop with me and to help me put out some content for the PBSCCS, I'm always extremely, extremely grateful for that. So overall, it's been another really good year. I'm looking forward to getting, to the 9-year mark here, and then hopefully making it to that big 10-year mark as well after that. But in the meantime, I am really thankful. I'm really appreciative of all the support. And if you have any guests that you would want to hear on the podcast, send them my way. I'm always looking for new guests. I'm always looking for new interviews. I'm always looking for people to talk shop with. So that's all that's going to be on today for this episode. And, again, thank you one last time for all the support. And in the meantime, we will talk to you again on the next one.